Hello, I would like to talk to you about your property. What purpose does your lawn serve the community, the environment, the ecosystem, all that? What does it? Now, if you have a parking lot, concrete asphalt, anything like that, what does that serve? It's a piece of stonish material that soaks up heat, radiates that heat, doesn't soak up any moisture. In fact, the moisture that falls on it gets deterred off it, running someplace else, possibly causing floods. And if you have lawn grass, what does it do? It soaks up moisture that comes down, minorly degree, because the roots don't go very deep. So if there's a whole bunch of rain, it doesn't get soaked in. And lawn grass you have to mow, sometimes fertilize and water. That creates air pollution, noise pollution, and lawn grass is non-native cool season Eurasian gramoids that don't filter anything out. What does that do? Does it provide pollen, nectar for insects? No, it doesn't. Does it provide food for any levels of the ecosystem? No, it doesn't. Does it filter out toxins and impurities and pollutants in the environment, or the runoff from human, advancements? You got this chemical here that does this or does that. Well, whether it's for your hair, insecticide, something for your car that runs off into the environment, do non-native cool season lawn grass do anything to change that? No, they don't. But what's the opposite of this? The opposite is forest, woodland, savanna, or a prairie, or a wetland prairie. That's what really changes this. Now, I say a wetland prairie rather than wetland or swamp or meadow or fen or bog, because a wetland prairie is adapted to take in excess moisture and still survive the drought. That's ideally what you'd want. These subdivisions, especially new ones, they'll have a depression in some part of the neighborhood. It'll be, community owned, district, township, village, whatever owned. And it'll be designed to take in the excess moisture if there is, a huge downfall. If it's just non-native cool season lawn grass in there, it doesn't really do any good. If it were wetland prairie plants, wet prairie plants, it'd be completely different. It would quickly soak in the moisture, and because prairie plants have deep roots, it would send that water deep down into the aquifer, and it would also filter out the impurities. Everything from when you spray something aerosol, something from your car, something you're doing at the side of your house, all those chemicals that you put into the environment. Knowingly, unknowingly, voluntarily, accidentally, all that. That all can be filtered out by complex plant systems. The roots, the mycorrhiza, the bacterium, all that kind of stuff soaks up those impurities. It filters and makes the air and the water and the soil healthy for humans. All this cancer and diseases we're getting, that's because of the chemicals that are all around us. But if you have more complex plant systems, it will cleanse all around you of that, so it won't be in you. So every time I go down the street and I see a piece of property, whether it's manicured or not manicured, mowed, lawn, it just disgusts me because it's just such a waste. So much more benefit could be done by planting native plants. And a side note, because this is Central Midwest, it's even more of a big deal. Because the Central Midwest is the best soil in the world. Yeah. Best soil in the world. Second is probably the Slavic Triangle area between Ukraine, Russia, and Kazakhstan. Third is probably the North European plain. Fourth is probably the Patagonian Pampas area of Argentina. Maybe. There's debate on that. But anyhow, the best soil in the world is the Central Midwest. Because, as I tell people, Ronald Reagan didn't win the Cold War. Nope. He didn't. Nope. Cold War was won because we could provide food at such a huge surplus with such minimum amount of work. I mean, the Soviets had to put women to work 20 years before Americans put women to work in order to try to compete with America on how wonderfully productive we were in everything in general, but even more specifically, we had to have less people put aside to growing our food than any other place in the world. Of course, more than Russia. Because the tallgrass prairie region, sure, a lot of it has to do with bison, Native American burning. That aside, you have tallgrass prairie. That's the big blue stem, little blue stem, switchgrass, Indian grass, cordgrass, eastern gamma grass, northern dropseed. And then the big ones like compass plant, prairie dock, wild quinine, rattlesnake master, lead plant, all putting organic material down. into the ground. In warm season prairie grasses, every year they abandon 1/3 of their roots and insert new roots down. So they're leaving that organic material behind. So they're adding carbon into the soil. And then you got the ants working hard, eating the insects and the debris that comes from these grasses and forbs. But they go deep into the ground and they pull this mineral stuff to the top. So ants are bringing mineral stuff to the surface. Prairie plants are bringing organic material down. And that process makes the best soil. Yeah. Best soil in the world, most productive. And because we were able to produce this food, wonderful surplus, best in the world, we could devote things on space travel, infrastructure to the nth degree. So what it comes down to is Ronald Reagan did not win the Cold War. No, he did not. The Cold War was won by ants and prairie plants. That's the truth. So when I go by a property and it's mowed, either manicured or weedy, lawn grass, it's just such a waste. Not just ecologically and what it could do for me and my community, but also if you got this best soil in the world, and yet people are going to war over food and water around the world, it seems disrespectful to just put lawn grass on it rather than the natural thing that God designed, which would benefit everybody, or at least not garden plants to produce food. Get wonderful fertile soil. Why not grow something on it? If you need to get something from it personally, then use it to grow crops. If you're not going to, then let it be natural and benefit everybody around you. But lawn grass is a negative to everyone. Doesn't really soak up water that much. Floods, nothing. Doesn't filter out impurities or toxins or pollution. And then you have to mow it, which is a financial cost. You have to pay someone to come out there and mow it. It's noise pollution, it's air pollution. I mean, how is that good for anybody? It's not. So it should be my goal to convince everybody to get rid of lawn grass, because it's not positive in any way I could think of. Might make people feel good to see a nicely manicured lawn, but are those feelings truthful? Or are they just false images that we've been programmed to think? You know? These are things to think about.